So 3 months ago, I moved to Miami, Florida. Never thought I would make this decision, but one day I woke up, my lease was ending, and I was like, I need to finally make this move. I was in the right position. I wanted to take the risk. And in this video, I want to tell you so far living here, what has Miami taught me about success? Because when people think about Miami, what do they think about? They think about flashy cars, the money, the lifestyle. This is where the young millionaires go, right? And so, with me being in my position, I've been able to actually meet a lot of these people. I've been able to see and get a bit of taste towards the lifestyle. And I just want to share with you sort of my perspective. But first, the word success is different for everybody, right? And if I ask you what does success mean to you, you might tell me something completely different. You might say, success means $10 million, or success means providing for your family, or success means retiring your mom. But for me, and I thought about this question quite a bit, is that it really comes down to options, choices, and freedom. So, really having the ability to choose what you want to do, who you want to be with, and where you want to do it. And so, a degree of my success was that I had the ability to change locations, to live in a different environment, to put myself in a higher cost of living. That's what success was to me. And I actually did that, right? So, like I said, it might mean different things to you, but on the premise of this video, I'm going to be going based upon not just financial things, but more so options, choices, freedom, so on and so forth. And, a lot of the people I met here are actually living a quote unquote successful life. Though some might tell you that, oh, the Miami lifestyle is rented, or people are flashy and everything's fake, which to some degree might be true. But we all cannot deny that if you're living in Miami, especially in Brickell, Midtown, or in any of these nice high rises or even penthouses, you're doing somewhat well for yourself. Now, the first thing I will say is that the Miami effect is real. If you guys don't know what that means, the Miami effect is essentially when you place yourself in a new environment, especially an environment like Miami, it tends to make you level up. And the reason is because the exposure to the enormous amounts of success all around you constantly. I kid you not, from my balcony, I see about 20 Lamborghinis every 2 hours, if I count them. I see about 50 Ferraris. I see about, 30 to 40 Lambo trucks, like nonstop. From a materialism perspective, I see nice cars everywhere. I'm hanging around people who do a lot better than myself. And so through that Miami effect, it forces you to not be comfortable with where you are. Back when I was living in Orlando, I felt like I was just way too comfortable. I didn't have really, I always had a drive to do better, but I didn't feel the need to really act on it immediately because of the comfortability of the environment that I was around. And yes, there's a time and place for that. Slow pace cities could be good to like kind of clear your head. But if you're in that growth phase, if you're a young guy, if you're in that upward trajectory where you're trying to maximize yourself, your SMV, you actually need to be in an environment in which there are a lot of people doing better than you, and you're seeing like kind of wealth throwing in your face. You're seeing nice things constantly, but not even through the nice things. It's like even the attractiveness of people, physicality. The Miami effect is actually more aligned with that towards women who move here. They tend to have like a Miami glow up, but even the guys too, man. You come here, I promise you, you're going to be in better shape. You're going to get more tan. If you do tan, you might even get some tattoos. You're going to start investing in jewelry. You're going to want to get a new car, a nice car. And I can tell you how the Miami effect has already played a part in my life, and that is finally feeling comfortable investing in myself. And through that, opportunities being presented to me because I invested in myself. So saying yes to those dinners, getting the Aston Martin, getting new clothes, investing in nice timepieces or jewelry. The Miami effect is real. And even though I've only been here 3 months, I'm still experiencing it every single week. Now, the thing about Miami too is that there's a lot of distractions here, a lot of distractions. There's always a party to go to, always a dinner to go to. There are beautiful women everywhere of all races, especially if you like Latinas. Wink, wink. They're everywhere. I see them at the gym constantly. And so with that being said, a lot of people think of Miami like as a party city. And for a tourism aspect, that's definitely true. And even moving here, I thought that I would get caught up in the distractions. But the truth is, I've actually been more disciplined since I've been here through the Miami effect, but also realizing that I can, make a negative impact through moving here if I was to dive into those distractions. I don't party. I don't club. Most I would do is go out to a bar. I don't do drugs. I don't sleep with new women every single day. So I'm pretty focused in this environment. And some people have asked me, like, do you have fun in Miami? And I'm like, yeah, I have fun, but not to the idea in which you're thinking. My fun is doing my work, working on my purpose every single day, and being around people who have that like-minded mindset towards growing themselves, growing their business, and just overall diving into personal development. That's another reason why I love Miami too, is because there's so many people who have those mindsets here, who have the growth mindsets, who want to get better, who are driven towards internal personal development, even spiritual development too, right? You would think a city with the devil, for lack of better words, being so rampant around here. A lot of people are like godly people. They go to church, they have faith, you know, and that's not always something you have to do, but it does make it more real once you experience it firsthand. So if you do move to a tier one city like Miami or anywhere else, just know you can't dive into any distractions whatsoever. You have to be focused and locked in every single day. And for some of you guys, it's going to be actually harder. For me, it's been easier. I like the idea in which, I can walk outside, feel the sun. I can go to the beach, do work. I can go to nice cafes. I can go out to nice restaurants after my workday and reward myself versus being, in a smaller city in which I felt like I couldn't reward myself and there wasn't really any distractions, even if I wanted to distract myself, which could also be a benefit. But Miami so far has provided that really good balance of like work and fun and play, but it's going to be on your discernment to ensure that you actually focus 80% of the time. Now, another thing I'll say is that what I've learned here in terms of success and the people I've met is that there's multiple paths to wealth and success, multiple paths. You would think that, oh, you have to create a personal brand, or you have to create content, or you have to do this, you have to do that. You don't have to do any of that. I met people who do watch reselling. I've met people who, have these obscure businesses or who partner with businesses and do really well for themselves. I've met people who have absolutely no social media presence whatsoever and they're living on the top floor and drive a nice car. That's the beauty of being here too, is that you see the success from different perspectives, because sometimes you get caught up in a small little bubble. You feel like, oh, that's the only way, or this is the only way. That's not the only way. Even with careers, I know a lot of you guys are just normal people. Maybe you don't want to start a social media. There's tons of people here with just really good careers who have done well for themselves over the course of time, invested that money, and now live a lifestyle that they want to. Yes, it may take longer, right? And maybe they're in their 30s, 40s. They're not necessarily 20 years old, 22 years old, driving a Lamborghini. That's not the case. But from what I've learned is that there's so many ways to money. There's so many ways to success. There's not one path that you have to take. And I found that through the people I've spoken to, for example, Sumi, shout out to him. He's like an insurance rep and he does crazy for himself, man. Dude has like a penthouse in Cleveland, 3 supercars, one exotic. Like he does really well. And I was asking him, I was like, do you do social media? Like, what do you do? He's like, no, bro, I'm in insurance. Insurance. Not to mention, like I said, like people with just normal careers. So don't feel like you have to take the one path, but do understand that your one path is going to be based upon your passions, but also like what sort of happens naturally for you. For me, content creation naturally gravitated towards me. I've been creating content since I was 13 years old. It didn't take off till I was about 16, 17, and I'm 29 now. So that was my path naturally. However, in another lifetime, maybe I was that cybersecurity officer. Maybe I was in the Air Force, still doing well for myself. But regardless which path you take, the person who is successful in that one path is going to be successful in any path they do, pretty much. And that's what I tell for myself is like, if I would have gone to the Air Force, if I would have done cybersecurity, I promise you, I would still be a millionaire before 40. Absolutely. Because it's more of a mindset thing. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I moved is because I got tired of being the big fish in the small pond. When you place a big fish in a small pond, and guess what? It stops growing. There's no growth. However, in a tier one city like Miami, I am now a little speck, a little tadpole in the pond. But guess what? Tadpoles grow. And if the pond's bigger, if the lake's bigger, there's more room to grow. There's more fish to meet. And so I purposely put myself to be the small fish in the big pond. And because of that, a thing I learned is that there's always a bigger fish, always a bigger fish. Doesn't matter what level you're at, there's always somebody who's doing better, who looks better, who's taller, who makes more money. And truth is, it really helped my comparison because I was going down a bad mental thing where I constantly compared myself every single day. But living in Miami and being the small fish, you almost get used to it, which is actually a good thing because once again, it allows me to grow, but also because of my network, I now take different perspectives from different people. I'm able to have conversations in which I never would have had otherwise. And that's now forcing me to grow, uh, personal development wise, business wise, or whatever else I'm doing, right? It has really, really shaped me for the better. And that's only 3 months. Imagine me being here for a year or maybe 2 years. So I encourage you guys to, make that move if you feel like you're in the right place to do so. Don't force anything. If you don't feel stable yet, I don't recommend moving to like a tier one city or expensive city, though there are affordable places to live. More so, I think it's best to build your foundation in a smaller city. And then once you're at that point where you feel like you need to up a level, that's when you take the move to like a bigger city like Miami, New York, maybe LA, though LA is kind of a shit show nowadays, right? That's what you do. If you want to work with me one on one in terms of developing your personal brand, your online image, being more attracted to women, actually attracting high interest women who match back with you, and overall having a more fulfilling dating life that not only satisfies your dating life, but also your relationships overall, and becoming the man that just other people want to connect with. Work for me down below. I'll show you what I call the Romeo effect. I've been building this for the past 5 years now, and it's something that can truly change your life, all right? Link will be down below. I'm going to see you guys in the next video.